What is the strongest copy ability that Kirby's ever had? Is it the Star Rod, which harnesses the power of dreams? How about the Ultra Sword, that overwhelmed the galaxy-conquering power of the Ancients? Maybe it's Stone. That seems to work pretty well for cheesing games of Super Smash Bros. Whatever it is, I'm sure we could find something even stronger if we tried. Kirby's potential is only limited by what he eats, right? What if he ate the Dragon Balls, the Infinity Gauntlet, or how about the Omnitrix? What if we fed Kirby the most powerful magic items in fiction until he became a god? First, we need to understand how exactly Kirby's copy ability works. Everyone's favorite little pink dude is a star child, some strange, otherworldly being that holds limitless energy and potential. Inside his stomach is an infinite space, a never-ending void where everything he swallows is transported. Once swallowed, Kirby's magical, dreamlike nature allows him to replicate the essence, or copy the ability, of whoever he just ate. Copy abilities are usually fairly simple. If an enemy uses ice abilities, Kirby will copy that essence and become Ice Kirby, letting him ice skate and blow frost breath. It's important to note, Kirby won't be able to do everything the enemy could do, just his simplified understanding of replicating their abilities. For example, the enemy, Mr. Frosty, can create snowballs and ice cubes, which can be thrown at Kirby, but these abilities aren't gained when Kirby copies him, just the skating and the frost breath. Kirby also gains copy abilities by eating objects that have a unique essence. For example, he doesn't need to eat an umbrella Waddle Dee to get the umbrella ability. Just eating an umbrella by itself will do the trick. For the purposes of this video, that is what we'll be focusing on. The objects Kirby can absorb, not people or creatures. That way, this hypothetical is at least somewhat ethical. Finally, while the inside of Kirby is a bottomless void, his exterior is actually relatively limiting. He can't eat anything that won't fit inside his mouth. Kirby's canonical height is actually only 8 inches, even though he's depicted in Smash Bros. As being 2 to 3 feet tall. I won't be a huge stickler about this one, but I'm not letting him eat anything bigger than an average human person. So no, he won't be chowing down on the Death Star or Super Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann. So now that we understand all that, it brings us to our topic for today. Which objects could we feed Kirby to make him reach his maximum potential in power? We will be looking at 7 notable objects from fiction and exploring the ramifications of each. Without further ado, the Dragon Balls from, Dragon Ball are ancient mystical relics created by the Namekians, harnessing magical energy to grant the wish of whoever collects all 7. They only grant a single wish, then scatter all over the planet and become inert for 1 year. Originally touted as capable of granting anything, it was later revealed that the Dragon Balls are limited by rules. They can only revive a single person from the afterlife, and only a single time. They cannot make you significantly more powerful without vastly limiting your lifespan. They cannot overpower the will of anyone stronger than the dragon himself, Shenron, and obviously, you can't wish for more wishes. That's Genie 101. In Dragon Ball Z, the Dragon Balls were upgraded by the new Guardian of Earth, Dende. This granted them 3 wishes per year, or 2 wishes if one was used to revive a large number of people. So what would happen if Kirby ate these wish-granting orbs? As Dragon Ball Kirby, it's reasonable that Kirby would have the power of Shenron himself, and so be limited only by the rules currently proposed on the Dragon Balls. He could wish for anything 3 times. This is not dissimilar to other very strong abilities Kirby has had in the past, like Crash or Chef. Very strong, but with a limited number of uses. With this power, Kirby could wish for anything, including immortality or a super powerful weapon. But realistically, he would only use these wishes on something like, I don't know, a mountain of never-ending cheeseburgers. And because the Dragon Balls can't be used to defeat an enemy stronger than Shenron, this form of Kirby wouldn't have any practical combat implications. While the power of wishing seems like a slam dunk, the Dragon Balls have too many rules to be all that useful as a copy ability. Now, some of you might be thinking, Kirby should just eat the Super Dragon Balls, which allow for a single wish with absolutely no rules. But all 7 of those are the size of an entire planet. Kirby's not going to be able to swallow them. Too bad. The Infinity Gauntlet from Marvel Comics was created by the Mad Titan Thanos in a bid to achieve godhood and appease death herself. The gauntlet itself is nothing particularly special. The 6 infinity gems inside of it are what grant the glove such tremendous potency. The soul gem allows you to observe, affect, attack, and even steal the soul of another being. The mind gem is much the same, targeting the consciousness of others. The power gem vastly increases the user's physical strengths and grants energy manipulation abilities. The space gem offers mastery over space and movement, including teleportation. The time gem grants time travel abilities, as well as the power to stop, slow, reverse, or speed up time. And finally, the reality gem warps existence like magic, altering the form, essence, and properties of anything in range. With the power of all 6 gems together, they create a circuit, a feedback loop that increases their effectiveness to the point of nigh omnipotence. Anyone wielding the Infinity Gauntlet is a complete master of all of reality, able to perceive everything across all of time and space and affect it on a whim, like a god. There are only 2 limitations on the Infinity Gems. The first is that they only work within their own universe. If you travel to an alternate reality, they lose all of their power. Also, the gems must be used by a person. When granted ultimate power and knowledge, a person's flaws become magnified infinitely. In this same way, if you lack proper imagination or the mental capacity to use the gems, you are only capable of doing what you believe you can do. I know that the MCU also adds the stipulation of the gems tearing apart your body as you use them, but this was not an aspect of their power in the comics. Infinity Kirby is extremely powerful. Right off the bat, he is far better than Dragon Ball Kirby because he's not limited to what he can create or how many times he can do it. Combine that with the passive time travel and teleportation, and you have an incredibly broken copy ability. Unfortunately, Kirby is probably one of the worst characters to utilize the Infinity Gems to their full potential because of his simple mind. He's kind of like a walking id. When he's hungry, he eats. When he's tired, he sleeps. He doesn't comprehend big ideas like the nature of the soul or complexity of space-time travel. While he could easily wash the vast majority of opponents he comes up against, anything that also manipulates time, space, or souls, with even a simplistic understanding of what that entails, are probably going to be able to catch Infinity Kirby off guard. Basically, this is like giving a toddler a rocket launcher. Theoretically very busted, but he probably won't have any clue how to use it. And even if he does, he's still bound by his original universe. He can't leave it or affect anyone outside of it. Next, we have the Omnitrix, the super advanced alien technology used by Ben Tennyson in the Ben 10 series. The Omnitrix was designed by the Galvan Azimuth, widely believed to be the smartest being in the entire universe. The device holds the DNA of nearly every sentient species across the cosmos and allows the user to transform their body into a peak physical specimen of any of those races. The Omnitrix has seen many different variations, copycat devices, and upgrades, most notably the Ultimatrix, which takes the alien DNA and subjects it to 1 million years of evolution under the most dire of circumstances, producing aliens far more powerful than the originals. The reason the Omnitrix is so powerful is the sheer variation and potency of the alien DNA it includes. A few examples are Gravitac, which can manipulate gravity and once produced a black hole on accident, Feedback, who held the force of a Big Bang within his energy manipulation abilities and even redirected the power, and of course Alien X, a celestial sapien with casual, fifth-dimensional power that survived the destruction of the universe, of infinite timelines, and recreated all of them with just a thought. Of course, the limiting factor on Alien X's power is that the user shares the body with 2 other consciousnesses, and they all must agree before taking any action. So, knowing all that, what if Kirby ate the Omnitrix? As Omnitrix Kirby, I think his powers would work very similar to Ben 10,000, a potential future version of Ben that unlocked a unique functionality of the Omnitrix, using alien abilities without actually physically transforming. So with this copy ability, Kirby could launch fire like Heat Blast, roll into a ball and topple enemies like Cannonbolt, and zip around at sonic speeds like Jet Ray. Essentially, it would be like if he had every single other copy ability from all of his games all at the same time. Extremely useful, no doubt. But it's not what I would call a godly power, per se. The only way he could reach those heights is through the use of Alien X. which isn't happening. I know in the Ben 10 canon, Ben eventually convinces the two minds inside Alien X to trust him enough to use the form unabated. But Kirby is not Ben. Kirby is a baby, and he's not really that smart. It's not clear how much he even understands speech. He's certainly not formulating an argument to convince these two elder gods of anything, much less to use their power on his whims. Omnitrix Kirby is cool and convenient, but it's not anything more impressive than we've seen in his own games. Real quick, if you are enjoying this video and you would like to see me talk more about other stuff like this, hit that like button and consider subscribing. It's totally free, and you can always unsub later if you feel like it. Okay, on to the next copy ability. The TARDIS, or Time and Relative Dimension in Space, is the time and space traveling machine from the British sci-fi classic Doctor Who. The reason I picked the TARDIS over something like the DeLorean from Back to the Future or any other time machine is that the TARDIS is far more powerful than many people realize. Powered by the Eye of Harmony, a singularity at the heart of the web of time, the TARDIS is a living machine, a sort of immortal companion for the Doctor as he travels all throughout eternity. As it says in the name, Relative Dimension in Space, just like Kirby, the ship is actually bigger on the inside. It houses an entire dimensional plane of endlessly expanding interior that can be shifted around spatially and temporally at will. Of course, the machine can time travel to any period, fly through space, materialize inside other matter, and is even strong enough to tow a dwarf star through space, tear open rifts in the fabric of reality, and sustain universe-ending paradoxes. That's all well and good, but you're probably wondering how Kirby is supposed to fit this big police box into his mouth. I did say that I was limiting this list to anything the size of a person or smaller. Well, for one, the size of the TARDIS exterior has been manipulated before, both growing to the size of a skyscraper and shrinking down small enough to fit in a handbag. And if that's not enough to convince you, Kirby could just suck up the heart of the TARDIS, a glowing spectral energy we've actually seen the Doctor absorb through his mouth before. The heart of the TARDIS is the power and will of the machine. When Rose Tyler looked into it, she became the Bad Wolf, and was able to travel time and space at will, alter history, grant immortality, and scatter the atoms of an army of Daleks that opposed her. Not bad for a shabby blue box, huh? As Time Lord Kirby, all the powers of the heart of the TARDIS are at Kirby's command. He can shift up and down the timeline, travel anywhere in space, and manipulate matter at the atomic level. He has a natural attunement to time, sort of like a sixth sense, and can see the entirety of eternity
all at once.
This sort of power was too much for a human like Rose Tyler, but as a Star Child, I'm confident Kirby can handle this. The only downside is, much like the Infinity Gems, the TARDIS only works in its native universe. When it's been transported to an alternate reality, it immediately loses its connection to the Eye of Harmony and goes dormant. This copy ability, once again, makes Kirby an unstoppable god caged within his home universe. So, on to the next. From Marvel Comics once again, the Ultimate Nullifier is a small handheld device created by the Watcher. When it was first used, it obliterated 9/10 of the entire universe. Later owned by Galactus, it was stolen by the Fantastic Four and used to scare him away from eating the Earth. Obviously, this thing is insanely powerful. But what exactly is it? Known as the universe's most devastating weapon, it can completely annihilate any target that the user wishes, outright ignoring the law of conservation of mass. In the hands of a sufficiently intelligent being, it can be used to wipe out an entire multiverse with infinite realities and timelines. The only limitation is that if the user's mind is not powerful enough, they too will be nullified upon use, disappearing from existence along with their target. In fact, if the user is intelligent enough, they can destroy non-tangible targets and even abstract concepts. The nullifier could delete the color blue from all of reality, or cosmic laws like gravity, fundamentally changing how the universe works. As Null Kirby, the power of the Ultimate Nullifier is on full display, able to completely wipe out anything at all in a single attack. He is a complete powerhouse. Now you're probably thinking, wait a minute, Kirby isn't smart enough to properly use the Infinity Gems to their full potential. There's no way he would be intelligent enough to fire the Ultimate Nullifier without also being destroyed. And you would be right. If Kirby just picked up the nullifier off the ground, it would likely wipe him from reality the first time he tried to use it. But because this is a copy ability, Kirby gains a natural intuition on how to use this new skill. We've seen him instantly learn entire martial arts, or how to pilot complex machines through copy abilities, both of which he's obviously not smart enough to do in his base form. As Null Kirby, he would be able to comprehend the properties of the nullifier well enough to use it, because that is its intended purpose. With the Infinity Gems, they don't actually have a set intended purpose. They merely exist as facets of the universe and require imagination to properly utilize. If we're just considering how destructive he is, this is the most powerful version of Kirby so far. But destruction is all he can do. He cannot create or manipulate matter. And so, we move on once again. The Chaos Emeralds are a set of 7 mystical gems of mysterious origin within the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise. We only know that they were once on a different planet thousands of years ago before being brought to Earth by a race of beings known as the Ancients. These emeralds are each a source of infinite power, both positive and negative, and their effects are a reflection of the heart of the user. Individually, each emerald can be used to power incredible machines or seal away dark gods and monsters. They can be used for chaos control, which manipulates space-time. A single emerald has been able to stop time and teleport a short distance, while 2 or more can be used to open up portals into the past or future. With all 7, a user can achieve a super form, filling them with golden energy and granting flight, invincibility, greatly enhanced speed and strength, and even a sort of wishing energy similar to the Dragon Balls. We've even seen them revive Sonic from the dead. Of course, there are some limitations. Characters that use the emeralds to achieve a super form are limited by time, represented by rings in the game. When they become too exhausted, the super form fades, and they are left extremely tired in their base form. Also, the amount of power the emeralds grant you scales directly to the emotions you feel. If your heart is not in a fight, you will not receive as much power from them. But Kirby is a hero who never gives up, no matter how dire things get. So I don't think that will be much of a problem for him. Super Kirby is very similar to the power we see from other characters like Super Sonic or Super Shadow. Light speed flight, seemingly limitless physical strength, complete invulnerability, the time-space altering functions of chaos control, all of it. I should note that characters who have abilities different from Sonic see those powers boosted significantly in a super form, like Super Silver's telekinesis. I think that Kirby's Inhale ability, while super, would be similarly upgraded, not unlike his Hypernova ability from the finale of Kirby Triple Deluxe, which allowed him to inhale objects much larger than his body, essentially turning him into a walking black hole for anything that got in his way. As Kirby is very familiar with wishing energy and the power of dreams, I believe he would have an excellent intuition on how to properly use the power of the emeralds to their full potential, including their abilities to create and grant life. These are powers we rarely see Sonic use in his super form, but Kirby should have no problem. And as we've seen in the Sonic Rush series, the Chaos Emeralds work perfectly fine outside of their origin universe. The only limitation on Kirby is time. He doesn't use rings, so would he have a time limit on the Super Kirby form? I think, unfortunately, this is the case. Kirby gets tired, he needs sleep, and he becomes exhausted when he inhales too long or fights too hard. While he may contain infinite space inside his belly, he cannot fight infinitely, so Super Kirby has a time limit, just like Super Sonic. Finally, we have the Triforce, the ultimate source of power in the Legend of Zelda universe, left behind by the 3 golden goddesses after they completed their creation of Hyrule. It balances the 3 great forces, power, wisdom, and courage. It offers the ability to grant any wish to those who obtain it, and that wish remains true until the wisher passes away or someone else makes a different, contradicting wish. This is something we've never seen any limit on, theoretically making the Triforce much more powerful than the Dragon Balls. The Triforce can even be used to wish itself out of existence. There is only a single rule. The user of the Triforce must possess wisdom, power, and courage in equal parts inside their own heart. If they don't, the Triforce will split apart, and only the fragment that most closely matches the wisher will remain. The individual pieces of the Triforce are still immensely useful, granting enhanced strength, immortality, healing and protection magic, and defense against dark forces. But the separate pieces cannot match the unlimited strength of the combined three. As Triforce Kirby, theoretically, Kirby should have a completely unlimited power to do anything repeatedly forever. Actual godhood, just like the three goddesses that created it. But there is a very important catch. Kirby is not a being with equal parts courage, wisdom, and power. Specifically, wisdom. He is very powerful and extremely courageous, but he doesn't hold any wisdom, to be frank. He's described by the game directors as essentially thoughtless, and I think that's pretty evident. Now, you could make an argument that the wisest thing a person could do is return to monkey.
Go back, I want to be monkey!
And embrace living the most animalistic way possible. Not that I'd agree, but it's an argument that you could theoretically make. But Kirby doesn't even embrace that sort of lifestyle either. He has friendships, he sleeps indoors, he enjoys modern luxuries. He's just kind of a go-with-the-flow sort of guy. He doesn't have any sage wisdom or philosophy to share. So, by eating the Triforce, Kirby would likely have access to all of the abilities of power and courage, immortality, immense strength, magical energy, protection from darkness, but none of the healing or clairvoyance of the Triforce of wisdom, and also none of the wishing power of the full Triforce. So after all that, we couldn't do it. No matter how hard we try, every incredible magic power that Kirby eats has some sort of limitation or weakness or drawback. He can be endlessly strong or fast, have mastery over time or space, but he constantly falls short of real omnipotence, true godhood. At least that's what I thought. Then I remembered Kirby 64, the Crystal Shards. In this Nintendo 64 classic, Kirby shows off a new power for the very first time, combining copy abilities. That's right, if he absorbs two different enemies at once, Kirby can combine their powers to make something new and more powerful. For example, combining Burn and Needle will give Kirby the Fire Arrow ability, which uses aspects from both powers simultaneously. Cutter and Spark make Lightsaber, Stone and Bomb make Dynamite, the list goes on. And we see this sort of thing return later in the series, like how Kirby is able to apply elemental powers to his abilities in Star Allies. With that in mind, true divinity might not be out of reach after all. Let's look at some sweet combinations. Absorbing both the TARDIS and the Dragon Balls lets Kirby make wishes one after the other, using time travel to skip past the 1-year cooldown period. Or, if he eats the Omnitrix and the Chaos Emeralds, he could use a super form of every single alien. Imagine that. That's super cool. Super Humongosaur, super Big Chill. Artists, you know what to do. Get on that. But the greatest power comes from a very specific combination, the Triforce and the Ultimate Nullifier. We know that the Nullifier can destroy anything, from people to places to abstract concepts. And we also know that the Triforce, even as the ultimate power, can be affected by its own influence, as it was once used to wish itself out of existence in A Link Between Worlds. With that in mind, Null Force Kirby could theoretically use the Ultimate Nullifier to remove the rules on the Triforce, bypassing the limitation that requires him to have wisdom in order to access its full power. With the Triforce fully under his command, Kirby can have any and every wish granted as many times as he likes. That means he can wish for every other ability listed so far in this video. Complete mastery of time, space, mind, body, soul, reality. He's functionally immortal. He's wiped out multiverses with a single thought, able to contend with foes from any other time or plane of existence, at home or on their own turf. It took some work, but we created the pinnacle of Kirby's power, a true deity to reign amongst his peers in the heavens. Will he use his divine throne to judge us mere mortals for our sins, to rain hellfire down on the unworthy masses? Will ultimate power corrupt? Absolutely? Probably not. I think he's just he's gonna make that mountain of cheeseburgers and spend the next week eating them. Yeah. Stay frosty.